Okay, so now that we have our L2s, we're going to need text evidence, remember, again, from both selections. So you want to have your text out, and we can start with ibis. Okay, so looking at the scarlet ibis, I know that you guys have done a lot of work marking this up already and annotating it. So I want to go to where I know that he experiences this tragic and sudden loss, this grief. So I'm going to go towards the end and look and see when he actually loses Doodle, when Doodle actually dies. So going here towards the bottom, he says down here, oh, this is a good one. I began to weep, and the tear blurred vision in red before me looked very familiar. Yes, that is definitely tragic. That's when brother realizes that Doodle is dead and that he's definitely not coming back. Okay, that is definitely a tragic part. I also see down here, for a long time, it seemed forever, I lay there crying, sheltering my fallen scarlet ibis from the heresy of rain. So that's he's just sitting there with Doodle, just crying next to his body as it rains. And he's trying to cover Doodle's body with his own to keep him from getting wet, even though Doodle has already died. So I think both of those will give me plenty to work with as far as my L1s go. So I'm going to match up my L1s with my L2s. So the first one is I began to weep, and the tear blurred vision. And then it goes on. I'm going to make myself a little note here with the ellipses. That means there's more to this quote than I've put down, but this is going to give me a good idea where to go back and find it. And then the other piece of evidence that I found was I lay there crying, sheltering my fallen scarlet ibis from the heresy of rain. Okay, so let's check ourselves and make sure, because remember, these L1s actually have to support the L2. The L2 is not what you see in the text. That is the connection we make from the text, okay? So, tragic, is it pretty tragic to be sitting there and crying next to your dead brother while he's, the rain is falling down? Yes, I think tragic works. Grief would definitely work. This sudden loss, yes. Is it painful? Yes. Devastating? Yes. Catastrophic and disastrous, those are a little bit different types of words. But for brother, I would say that they would work because they are going through this monumentous event. He is going through this monumentous event in his life of losing his brother. Okay, so all those work. So let's make sure that works for Annabelle Lee as well. Okay, so I am trying to find something in Annabelle Lee that also shows that grief, that sudden and tragic loss. So when I look through it, I kind of want to find where she actually dies, because that's kind of what I was doing with Doodle. So that'll make it a little bit easier. And that's down here in this stanza. That the wind came out of the cloud by night, killing and chilling my Annabelle Lee. So let's start with that one. That the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. Okay. That matches very well also with the ibis evidence, because we see it's the actual death of Annabelle Lee. So that matches really well, and it matches well with our L2. And then the other one, that kind of reminds me of Brother and how Brother experienced his grief, was down here in this stanza. I lay down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride. Reminds me of Brother laying next to Doodle in his final moments of life. So I lay down by the side of my darling, my darling, my life, and my bride. Okay, so let's check ourselves with both of these, just like we did with IBIS, and make sure that all the L1s match up with the L2s and support them. Is the death of a young woman tragic? Yes. Is he showing grief? Yes, for sure. He's laying down next to her. That does show sudden loss. It's painful. Yes. Devastating. Yes. Catastrophic and disastrous. Yes, definitely for the speaker, both of those words will work. Okay, so this is the hard work. This is the planning. And I know it's kind of tough to make yourself do this in the beginning, but this will make writing the actual short answer response very, very easy because you now have something to pull from and you're going to be a lot more organized from this. So the next thing we'll do is write a topic sentence.